My beloved child, there are moments in life that begin so quietly you only recognize them after everything has already changed, and this is one of those moments. Somewhere along the way, someone began noticing you with a level of attention that went far beyond a passing glance. It was not obsession, nor anything harmful, but something deeper and harder to explain. To you, it may have seemed like an ordinary day, an ordinary outfit, an ordinary version of yourself stepping into the world without thinking twice about it. But to them, something about your presence stayed behind long after you disappeared from view. They noticed the small things most people overlook completely. The way you carry yourself when you are distracted, the subtle habit of adjusting your sleeves when uncertainty creeps in, the quiet confidence hidden inside your simplicity. What struck them was not an attempt to impress anyone, but the fact that you never seemed to be trying at all. In a world where so many people carefully construct an image, your naturalness felt impossible to imitate. The more they tried to dismiss it, the more it lingered in their mind. Eventually, almost without meaning to, they mentioned you in conversation, describing something they could not fully explain. Another person became curious, then another, and before long, your name began moving through circles you have never entered yourself. Not because of status, performance, or attention-seeking, but because your presence left an impression strong enough to travel without your involvement. What you considered ordinary about yourself became the exact thing others found unforgettable, and somewhere beyond your awareness, curiosity about you continues to grow in places you never expected. A space where people don't admire lightly, they predict. But here's where the story becomes something you never expected, because what they're saying is not some casual compliment. It's not some shallow conversation. It's a prophecy of sorts. They're saying, you wear clothes the way powerful people wear confidence, without trying, without forcing, without needing approval. They said, this person is going to be known, marked, recognized. They said there's something almost cinematic about you, as if life placed a spotlight on you before you were ready. Someone even claimed they saw a glow around you, an energy they swear wasn't imagination. And now they're convinced the way you dress is not style, it's a sign, a signal, a warning to the world that something big is coming through you. Now everything is shifting behind the scenes. People who once ignored you are about to remember your name. Someone who never looked at you twice is rereading your messages right now. Someone who thought you were plain is suddenly realizing they were blind. And the person who noticed you first, they can't get you out of their mind. They're replaying the moment, questioning why your presence hit them like a tidal wave. They feel like they discovered something rare, something hidden, something the world hasn't fully noticed yet. And they're scared, not of you, but of the fact that one glimpse of you changed the way their heart moves. They're scared because you weren't supposed to matter this much, but now you do. And they don't know what to do with that truth. And as the night passes and the day shifts, a strange energy surrounds your name. People are beginning to talk about you in ways they never have. Some say you're evolving. Some say you're stepping into a destiny you didn't even know was yours. Some say the way you carry yourself is becoming a message. And the person who noticed your clothes, they feel like they've seen the future, your future, and it shocked them so deeply that they are now watching every move you make. They're waiting to see what happens next. They're waiting to see who else notices you. They're waiting to see when you finally realize the truth, that the world is beginning to shift toward you. And it all started with one simple moment. The way you wore your clothes without knowing you were being observed by a pair of eyes that saw something extraordinary. In this moment, stay with me, because what unfolds next is the part most people never get to hear. The whispers about you have grown louder, subtle at first, like a breeze brushing past a half-open door. But now they're turning into full conversation, spoken in rooms you've never stepped into. Someone who barely noticed your existence before is suddenly analyzing everything about you, especially the way you dress, not with judgment, but with fascination, as if your clothing choices reveal a deeper truth about your spirit. They're telling others that there's something rare in your simplicity, something powerful in the calmness you carry, something unforgettable in the energy that sits inside your presence. And now, more eyes are drawn toward you, not because of noise, but because of quiet confidence, the most dangerous kind of beauty. Now a new twist emerges, the kind that makes people lean forward and forget to blink. A person you don't even speak to often has been secretly trying to understand you. They watch the way you adjust your collar when you're thinking, the way your shoulders rise slightly when you feel uncertain, the way you don't dress to show off, yet still manage to capture attention without even trying. And what they told someone today will surprise you. They said your clothing gives away your strength. They said it reveals you're the kind of person who survives storms and still stays soft. They said there's a resilience in your appearance, a story stitched into the way you move, like someone who has been through battles no one knows about, but still keeps walking, as if destiny is waiting on the next corner. Their exact words were, "This one carries a quiet fire. You can't see it until you look closely, but once you see it, you can't unsee it." As these words spread, something unexpected starts happening. Someone who once felt superior to you is beginning to feel shaken. They're wondering how they missed the glow developing around you. They're realizing they underestimated you, not because of your clothes, but because of the grace with which you were yourself. And now, they're watching from a distance, hoping to figure out how you transformed without making any noise. Meanwhile, the person who first noticed you is growing restless. They've been replaying the moment over and over, a moment they didn't plan, a moment you didn't even realize happened. They thought it was a brief spark, but it's turning into an obsession, a pull they can't ignore. And in their heart, they know, they discovered something rare before anyone else did. They're afraid they'll lose their chance to understand you if someone else notices you the same way. And within that same shift, there may be one specific kind of attention that feels more personal than the rest. Not loud, not obvious, but steady in a way that becomes noticeable over time. You might sense someone observing you with a growing curiosity, trying to understand you beyond surface impressions. It isn't about grand gestures or dramatic moves, but about small moments of attention that accumulate quietly. The way you carry yourself, the way you don't rush to fill silence, the way your presence holds a kind of calm that doesn't demand explanation. These are the kinds of things that tend to draw thoughtful interest. Someone may be trying to interpret what sits behind that composure, not in an intrusive way, but in a reflective one, as if they're piecing together a story they haven't been told directly. They may notice details you don't think twice about, like how you present yourself on ordinary days, or how your expressions shift when you're not performing for anyone. Over time, that curiosity can turn into hesitation, and then into the quiet courage it takes to step closer or speak up. None of this is guaranteed or dramatic. It's simply how human attention sometimes unfolds when familiarity turns into intrigue. What matters more is not the attention itself, but how you remain grounded in who you are, while others begin to interpret you through their own lens. Clarity comes from staying centered, not from chasing meanings others project onto you. You don't have to rush to define what anything means before it becomes clear on its own. And tonight, as the energy circles around your name, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. You are entering a season where people will not only see you, they will study you, admire you, question you, and chase the meaning behind everything about you. And the person who started this chain reaction, they're not done yet. They're watching your every shift, every new outfit, every subtle change, waiting to see how far this transformation will go. because something about you tells them your story is just beginning. Listen closely now, because what I'm about to reveal is the part that turns curiosity into obsession and whispers into impact. The person who first noticed you thought it would be a passing moment, a simple observation, something their mind would forget after a few hours. But instead, that moment has grown roots inside them. They're thinking about you more often than they admit. They're catching themselves replaying the way you looked that day, the effortless style, the unplanned glow, the quiet strength that sits on your shoulders like a crown you never asked for. And now, something bigger is happening behind the scenes. People who heard the rumors are beginning to look at you differently, not because of fashion, but because of the energy your presence carries. A ripple effect has begun. Someone who barely knew your name is suddenly noticing how you walk through a room without forcing attention, yet somehow becoming the center of it. They noticed how you don't rush, how you don't perform, how you don't need the world's approval to feel grounded. And now they're saying something shocking. They're saying you remind them of someone destined for something greater than the ordinary. Someone whose aura changes the room even when you speak only a few words. They said the way you dress doesn't just express your personality, it exposes a deeper purpose inside you, one that others are only beginning to sense. But here's where the twist intensifies. There's a person who once thought they were above you, someone who believed they were more important, more noticed, more respected. That person is now uneasy. They're realizing the spotlight they thought belonged to them is slowly shifting your way. They're noticing how people's eyes linger on you, how conversations start with your name, how your presence has started to break the rhythm of the spaces you enter. And they're terrified, not of you, but of the truth they ignored for too long, that you were never meant to stay in the background. You were simply waiting for the right moment to be seen. Meanwhile, the person who first observed you, the one who whispered about you, has been watching the shift unfold, like a prophecy coming true. They didn't expect others to notice so quickly, but now they see it happening everywhere. Someone asked about you today, quietly, as if they were trying to hide their curiosity. Someone else mentioned your name with admiration they didn't have before. And there's one person, someone who pretends not to care, who has been secretly staring at you from the corner of their eye, trying to understand what it is about your presence that pulls attention like gravity. They don't know it yet, but they're slowly being drawn into the same orbit as the first observer. Stay with me, because the truth becomes sharper now. Your energy is waking people up. Your presence is unlocking feelings in others they didn't know were possible. And someone unexpected, is beginning to feel threatened by the way others talk about you. They fear losing control. They fear being replaced. They fear the rise of someone they never saw coming, you. But the more they try to ignore you, the more undeniable you become. And the more undeniable you become, the more the world starts to tilt in your direction. Tonight, the one who noticed your clothes first is realizing something life-changing. You weren't just wearing an outfit that day. You were wearing a future others sensed before you did. A future that's now unfolding step by step, as eyes turn, voices whisper, and hearts begin to shift toward your name. Pay attention now, because this is the stage where subtle things begin shifting beneath the surface, long before they become visible to everyone else. The impression you leave on people is no longer passing or forgettable. Someone recently found themselves replaying the smallest details about you without even realizing how often your image returned to their thoughts. It was not only the way you dressed, but the feeling behind it, the quiet confidence, the ease in your posture, the sense that you were completely comfortable being yourself without needing to perform for attention. What stayed with them was the realization that your presence speaks before your words ever do. They eventually admitted to a close friend that there was something unexpectedly powerful about the way you carry yourself. Not loud, not forced, just unmistakably genuine. They described you as someone who does not chase recognition because your energy naturally draws people in on its own. And once that conversation happened, something interesting followed. More people began noticing the same thing independently, almost as if an invisible shift had taken place around you. Conversations about you started appearing in unexpected places, not out of gossip or obsession, but curiosity. People began trying to understand why your presence suddenly feels different to them now. Some described it as growth. Others called it confidence. A few simply said you seem more aligned with yourself than before. Whatever words they used, they all pointed toward the same truth. You are stepping into a version of yourself that feels more complete, and people around you can sense that change long before you fully recognize its impact yourself. But here is where the tension reaches its peak. Someone who thought they had you figured out is now confused, uneasy, even intimidated. This person once judged you quietly, thinking your simplicity made you easy to dismiss. But now, as others begin to admire you, they feel their own relevance slipping. They're watching you become more noticeable, more talked about, more respected. They're watching your name move through spaces with a new weight. And within them, a fear is growing. Fear that you're stepping into a version of yourself they can't compete with. Fear that the world is beginning to choose you over them. Fear that you are about to shine in a way they never expected. Meanwhile, the one who started this chain reaction is struggling with emotions they don't know how to express. They didn't plan to notice you. They didn't plan to think about you. And they definitely didn't plan to be affected by something as simple as the way you wear your clothes. But now they can't unsee it. They can't shake the feeling that your presence holds a kind of truth they've been searching for. And they're beginning to wonder if noticing you wasn't an accident, if it was meant to happen, meant to pull them into something bigger, meant to reveal something about you that only they were ready to see. Stay with me, because the energy around you is shifting again. Someone who used to overlook you now watches you with a strange mixture of curiosity and regret. Someone who admired you quietly is now beginning to feel a deeper pull, and someone who never expected to think about you at all is losing their focus because of you. They're wondering who you really are beneath that calm style. They're wondering why you leave such a strong imprint without saying much. They're wondering why the memory of you doesn't fade, it sharpens. Tonight, the truth becomes clearer than ever. Your presence is no longer blending in. Your aura is no longer silent. Your style is no longer just fabric. It's a signal. And the person who first noticed it is realizing that what they saw in you wasn't a moment. It was the beginning of something powerful, something unstoppable, something destined. Stay close now, because this is where the truth stops whispering and starts roaring so loudly that even the people who pretended not to see you are beginning to shake. The person who first noticed the way you wear your clothes, the one who thought it was just a passing moment, has reached a stage where they can't hold their thoughts inside anymore. Their mind has been replaying you with such intensity that it's starting to show in their behavior. They're quieter around others, distracted, lost in thoughts they can't explain. Someone close to them asked what was wrong today, and the answer left them stunned. They said, "I saw something in that person. Something I can't forget. Something that feels like it wasn't meant for everyone's eyes, only mine." And now that confession is spreading faster than you think. A new shift has begun. People who didn't care about you yesterday are suddenly curious today. Someone who rarely speaks is now asking questions about you. Someone who never looked in your direction is starting to observe your smallest moves. how you adjust your shirt, how you stand when you're thinking, how your clothes blend with your energy, as if they were chosen by something bigger than you. They're saying your style doesn't look learned. It looks inherited, carried, lived. They're saying you look like someone who has walked through the kind of battles that change a soul. And now the discussion around you has deepened. It's no longer about fashion. It's about meaning. It's about presence. It's about destiny. Now the tension gets sharper, because someone who once felt superior to you is collapsing under the weight of their own jealousy. They're noticing others admire you more, talk about you more, pay attention to you more. They're seeing the spotlight tilt, slowly but surely, in your direction. And they hate it, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you're doing everything right without trying. They feel threatened because you're becoming the person they wished they could be. They're watching the world drift toward you and away from them, and the more they try to dim you, the brighter you seem to become. This shift is eating at them, and now they're silently panicking, wondering how they lost the position they once held above you. What makes this situation more complicated for them is the realization that they are no longer simply noticing you from a distance. Somewhere along the way, observation turned into reflection. They started paying attention not only to how you look, but to the energy behind your choices, the consistency in the way you present yourself, and the quiet self-awareness they believe they see in you. They catch themselves wondering about the stories behind your expressions, the experiences that shaped your confidence, and the reasons your presence feels so distinct compared to everyone else around them. It is not obsession in the dramatic sense. It is deeper than that. A persistent pull toward understanding something they cannot easily define. Even when they try to focus elsewhere, their mind circles back unexpectedly, replaying moments that seemed ordinary at the time, but now feel unusually significant. They are beginning to recognize that what unsettles them most is not your appearance alone, but the way you seem completely unaware of the effect you leave behind. That naturalness makes everything feel more real to them. There is no performance for them to dismiss, no obvious attempt at attention they can explain away. And because of that, they feel as though they are witnessing someone gradually stepping into a stronger version of themselves in real time. The more they notice that shift, the harder it becomes to distance themselves emotionally from it. Whether they admit it openly or not, your presence has already changed the way they see you, and perhaps even the way they now see themselves too. They didn't expect their heart to react this strongly. They didn't expect their thoughts to drift back to you with the same force every single day. And today, they told someone something that left the listener speechless. They said, "This person has a presence you can't forget. Their aura stays with you even after they walk away." And now people are repeating those words, trying to understand what makes you so unforgettable. Now the conversations surrounding you have grown deeper. No longer light remarks or fleeting comments. They're discussing the way your energy feels different, how your style doesn't follow trends, but carries a quiet identity that sets you apart without you even trying. Someone said that the way you wear your clothes feels like a statement, not a fashion choice. They said, your simplicity has weight, your elegance has meaning, your calm carries power. And now, those who once glanced over you without caring are starting to pause, to observe, to wonder what they missed. They're seeing a glow they never noticed before, a confidence rising in you like a hidden flame being uncovered. But here is where the pressure builds the strongest. There is someone who once doubted you, someone who used to underestimate you, who is now struggling with the truth appearing before them. They're realizing your presence is rising, your name is growing, your aura is expanding into places their influence once lived. They see people shifting toward you, admiring you, noticing the things they ignored. Each time your name is mentioned, they feel something inside them sink a little deeper. They're realizing the version of you they thought they knew is gone. They see a new strength, a new confidence, a new energy forming around you, an energy they can't compete with. And now, fear and envy sit heavy in their heart, because they know they're witnessing the emergence of someone they can no longer shadow. Meanwhile, the person who started all this, the one who simply noticed your clothing style, has reached a stage where their curiosity has evolved into something deeper, something they weren't prepared for. They're trying to hide it, but their behavior gives them away. Their eyes linger longer, their silence grows deeper, their thoughts wander more frequently, and today, they confess something to themselves they had been avoiding. If I'm this affected by something so simple, what will happen if I truly get to know them? That realization shook them, because it wasn't supposed to be this intense. You weren't supposed to matter this much. Yet here they are, unable to pull away from the mystery you carry. Feel the atmosphere around you now, because someone unexpected, someone influential, someone observant, is beginning to notice the same thing. They've been watching you with a sharp eye, trying to read the story behind your calm appearance. They see a rise happening, a shift, a transformation that feels inevitable. They said your aura has changed. People have started to notice a shift in how you carry yourself. A few even said your presence feels more defined, harder to ignore, like you've become more certain in who you are. It's not about anything dramatic or mysterious. It's the way confidence settles in over time and changes how others read you. Some who used to overlook details are now paying closer attention, trying to understand what exactly has changed. There's a quiet curiosity building around you, and even someone who usually keeps their distance seems to be considering whether to finally reach out, more out of genuine interest than anything else. What they're sensing isn't some sudden transformation, but a gradual alignment between how you see yourself and how you present yourself to the world. Your style has started to feel more intentional, less like decoration and more like expression. Even your quieter moments carry a kind of weight now, not because you're trying to project anything, but because people are responding differently to your calm and consistency. Those who once only saw surface details are realizing there's more depth behind your choices than they first assumed. And the person who first paid attention is beginning to understand that what they noticed wasn't just a passing impression. It was an early glimpse of the direction you've been moving toward, even before you fully recognized it yourself. None of it is sudden, but it becomes more noticeable the longer people watch, as small changes compound into a clearer impression of who you're becoming. In the end, it's less about attention and more about steady personal growth being reflected outward.